Zen here, signing on with what appears to be some sort of sacrilege video. It's true. As you can see here, I've got the Kawasaki Versys 650 on hand today, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a test ride. I suppose, for argument's sake, the VFR could stand for very fine ride in this instance. This particular bike is really one of the ultimate all-rounders that I've ever ridden. I've always been a big fan of the Honda VFR, owned several, and as you can see from some of the videos I've posted, had quite a bit of fun on them. But this bike, I will say, is really taking it to the next level in terms of comfort, practicality, fuel economy, and fun. I've been very impressed so far. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on this thing and give it a go. Now, I'm still breaking it in, so I've been fairly gentle with it. But I'm on a nice stretch of road here in Central Florida. There are a few curves around these parts. And let's go ahead and give you some of my impressions. The first thing that stands out about this bike is that it's incredibly comfortable. It's got a great riding position, and the bike is just really smooth. It just feels put together. Kawasaki has clearly done their homework, and this bike, as someone who really enjoys refinement coming from Hondas, Kawasaki has really impressed me by their Versys offerings. I have not ridden the 1000, but I will say that this 650 has everything I need out of a bike. It's true that the power isn't going to be as impressive as the VFR 800. However, 0 to 60, I don't really feel an appreciable difference. In fact, I would go so far as to say it's quicker than the VFR, or at least easier to go quicker on it. Once you get over 60, you can definitely feel the horsepower differential. I believe this bike makes about 65 foot-pounds, or I'm sorry, 65 horsepower at the rear tire, and perhaps 45 foot-pounds of torque. And for comparison purposes, the VFR was making around 100 rear-wheel horsepower and maybe 52 foot-pounds of torque. But the thing is, this bike has got power as low as 3,000 RPM. I mean, I would think that if you overlay the power curves between this bike and the Honda VFR, you'd be surprised at how torquey it is down low. It really doesn't want for bottom end power. And the reason I picked the 650 as opposed to the 1000, which of course is getting all of the kudos in the magazines. In fact, I believe it got Bike of the Year in one of the recent publications. The Versys 1000, I think, is a great bike. From all indications, it's just the ultimate mile leader for a really good price. But I feel like if you're going to be doing a lot of commuting, and you know, with the bias being toward day in and day out usage, with light touring and you know, the occasional longer trip, I just think this is a better buy. It really just has it beat on the 1000 on several fronts, namely the fuel economy, which I'm getting about close to 50 miles per gallon riding it around in town, which is great. That was one thing that I always felt Honda was doing a poor job on with the Honda VFR. Now, I believe the newer one has some better fuel economy, but I was always appalled at the fact that for a bike that really wasn't that powerful, to have it only get 36 miles to the gallon was just ridiculous in my mind. So this is really the first time I've taken it through a set of sweepers and corners like this. I've done mostly in-town riding, pretty much exclusively, up to this point. And so I'm still getting to feel the feel of the bike, but I love the wide bars, the ease at which you could put it into a corner, and it seems like with the 160 rear tire as opposed to the 180, its ability to just fall into the corners is just much more pronounced. This is the end of the twisty section. You'll find that if you ever ride in Florida, there are twisty roads. You just have to know where to find them. And they're usually sprinkled amidst lots of straight roads. But it's got some good pickup too. I mean, again, the thing that I'm most impressed about this bike is, for only being a twin 650, it's got nice linear pull like a VFR. It is very smooth. I believe the Kawasaki engineers put in some additional rubber mounting with this 2015 model, and as a consequence, the motor and the buzz, it's just not there. You really don't feel it. I've heard in previous generations of the Versys that was a bit of a complaint, but so far I've not had any issues with it. And again, the linear pull at which this bike runs up close to redline is more indicative of a four-cylinder in my mind, but with the added benefit of the lower RPM torque. One of the other really impressive things about the bike is the braking. Apparently Kawasaki upgraded the brakes with this new model, in addition to styling and a slight increase in engine performance. But I think the brakes were the one area that most Versys owners really had complaints about. And I will say that I think the brakes are better than my Honda VFR. It's very smooth. They are not linked, which they're not linked on the Honda VFR anymore either. But in any case, it's just real predictable. You grab a handle, it stops, and it's smooth. And it also has ABS. Now, interestingly enough, this is a slightly flooded road. Well, this will give me a chance to test out the bike's all-road capabilities. Florida has had a lot of rain. A lot of rain in the last 3 weeks. And it's not surprising that there's standing water on that road. This area here is right around the Lutz, town of Lutz, and I believe there's a lake over here. But they have just been deluged with rain, and I think folks are saying this is like the signs of the first signs of an El Nino year. But in any case, that was pretty cool, actually. I would have never ridden my VFR through that. Which, speaking of off-roading and such, this bike, and I think Kawasaki would say that they have no illusions about this bike's street ability. It's a street bike. It's not a GS BMW. But I will say that I don't think this bike would have any trouble going on a fire road or a sand road or a gravel road. And I could not say the same for my VFR. and going over those little speed bumps was much more easy on this. The suspension, I'll point out, is a little soft. It does have a remote preload adjuster on the rear shock, which is nice. And the forks are good as well, but they're just, you know, if there was one thing I think they might have done a little better, but I'm sure it would have increased the cost of the bike, that would have been a little stiffer springs. But it's a really plush ride, especially going over potholes and bumps and such. I don't feel near the bone-jarring, sort of teeth-rattling experience I had in my VFR going down this road. So, again, all in all, I give Kawasaki an A on this bike. I am so pleased. The last thing I wanted to point out was that the bike, with the bags and the hand guards and the ABS, out the door was $9,400, I believe, and it's a phenomenal buy. I mean, this is just for what you get in that trade. I think Honda and others need to take note, because as nice as a 800 GS is, for example, or a Triumph Tiger, they're significantly pricier, and I just don't see that you're getting, you know, your marginal benefit exceeds the marginal cost. So I just wanted to illustrate to my viewers the ease at which these bags work. As you can see, they fit quite a bit, including a full face helmet, and I can't remember the exact liter size, but in any case, and in terms of popping them off, you just pull up like that, and they pop out like so. And as you can see, it's nicely integrated with the subframe. There's no ugly bracketry, etc. So again, kudos to Kawasaki for figuring that out. So and another thing I was going to point out as well is this adjustable windscreen, which is quite nice. All you do is you basically just loosen these two screws here, and you can go up as high as that. So again, very, very nice feature. I actually have it at the lowest setting in the middle of the summer. It's pretty much where you're going to want it. But I'm surprised at the pocket of quiet behind the fairing, even at this low setting, while also giving you some air to flow around you. It's, again, I can tell that the engineers did their homework. So go ahead and shove this stuff back in there and get back on the road.